Well, all right. Welcome to No Shit MMA. I'm your host, Jonathan Baldock, with my esteemed colleague, Robin Black, who, I don't know if you knew this, but that music, the opening music, is one of Robin's songs. We're on thatchannel.com. We're live, and we're sponsored by Extreme Couture Toronto. Robin, when did you do that song?
Oh, I don't know, years ago. We don't need to tell people that. I'm just going to get hate mail for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Esteemed colleague.
I'm
moving up in the world.
Dude, I'm trying to kick up the whole professionalism thing. We've been talking about it since week 1. We're on week 4. We're still on the air. That's already a shocker.
I'm going to increase the professionalism by changing my phone to a low ring. So, when people call me to tell me that our show sucks, it'll be really kind of a low ring.
Or maybe you want to consider turning the phone off or putting it on silent, but no. But instead, low ring, you think professionalism, which is
absolutely
awesome, and thanks so much for doing that.
And this is the show of the future. We got Skype, we got cell phones. Next thing you know, Blackberries are going to show up.
We have microphones. We are high technology.
Oh, yeah.
I am now talking to a microphone, and we don't. Why bother with the lanyard, with the little lapel mics when we've got a mic right here?
Lo-fi is where it's at. I mean, this is the future. Yeah, right here.
Absolutely. We're living it right now.
Absolutely.
So on today's show, we have a couple of amazing guests. We have the world's #1 lightweight contender, Kenny Florian.
Yeah,
he's
amazing.
Our first guest.
I can't even believe this guy agreed to come on the show.
I
wouldn't if I was him.
Dude, he didn't actually agree to come on the show. We're just going to phone him and randomly. He's going to answer. He's not even going to know he's being interviewed.
No, I mean, UFC lightweight #1 contender on our show week 4. Let's face it. This is a good show.
Yeah, but where do we go from here? That's really the question. Although we have something good lined up for next week.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, should we tell him now?
Not yet.
Okay.
All right.
We got something good next week.
Huge next week.
Not as good as Kenny Florian, let's face it. Well, actually, to some people,
you know what?
Way better to some people, way worse to others.
It depends on who you're fans of.
For sure.
And then also on our second half of the show, we have Coach Kearns.
Yeah.
And Coach Kearns is a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
And he trains people like Kenny Florian,
Batman Pellegrino.
Yeah, Kirk Pellegrino, Nate Quarry, Marcus Davis, Alex Karalexis, Din Thomas, George Gurgel.
Dean Thomas. You
pronounce it Dean? I thought it was Din.
I know. You would think it was Din. Just look at it. D-I-N. How do you pronounce that? Dean.
Din.
What? Yeah.
No, it's Din. When he comes on the show, I'm going to mispronounce it the entire time. Just
Dean.
To make sure
we'll get him. Dean Thomas actually just came down to 145 and signed with Affliction. So I'm calling right this minute.
That you're gonna get your ass kicked by him soon? Because you fight at 145.
No, I fight at 135, and he would kick my ass at either weight right now.
Why not about a catch weight fight between you and Dean
139. No way, man. I'm not fighting that guy. He's got 40 fights. I have 3, and I lost 2 of them.
Wait maybe 5-6 years. He'll be old enough.
He'll be too old.
Maybe he'll have some bad, really debilitating sort of arthritis or something like that.
For his sake.
Right, but then you could fight him and beat him, and you could say you beat Din Thomas.
Yeah, Dean Thomas.
No, Din.
But before we go on and stop getting sidetracked, I'm calling right here on this show. Prediction: Mark Hominick versus Dean Thomas at the next Affliction show.
You think so?
That's what I'm calling. 145.
Wow. Okay.
Mark Hominick, Dean Thomas.
Okay, and then maybe Chris Hordesky can fight in the next Affliction.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
Providing he doesn't keep going to strip joints and screwing up his neck.
Yeah, and that's a reference to our last week's show. He spends a lot of time getting drunk, Chris Hordesky. No, actually, he's the hardest training guy. Honestly, works incredibly hard. But like a lot of fighters, a lot of these guys, we can talk about this later in the show, but a lot of these guys will train so hard for 8, 10, 12 weeks. And when they get a break, 3-4 days, sometimes all they get, they like to get drunk, they like to eat junk food, So
right. I heard he was drunk at UFC 96.
He was.
Which brings us to the point of you were at UFC 96.
I was.
I, of course, had front row seats because I was watching it from home. I paid for the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That's right. I did pay for the pay-per-view. And can I just say, what an awesome fucking card. There were great fights. And then there were 2 amazing stoppages.
Well, I was there, which was amazing to be able to see that card live. I was calling that it was going to be a great card.
Yeah.
I
remember that last week when you said it's going to be an amazing card.
Yeah.
I think you didn't say that.
I did say that. I believe I did.
Yeah.
I mean, we could check the tape, but why bother? Exactly. It was a fantastic card. There were some great fights, and there were some brutal stoppages. Dana White called it some of the worst stuff he'd ever seen. I don't know if they showed it on the TV. Some people said, you said, well, maybe they showed the first fight.
I was drinking a lot, so towards the end, I don't even know if I saw it, but
maybe our viewers can tell us.
It was Aaron Riley versus Shane Nelson, and Why don't you tell us what happened
Okay.
real quick, because we're really running out of time. We
Yeah,
got
we got
to
to
get to Kenny Florian.
But
as fast as
maybe our
possible.
viewers
It's almost
can
10
tell
after.
us if it was on.
So let's
join us on
Cole's notes.
Facebook.
Hurry up, go.
What's his name? The Hawaiian kid that Aaron fought?
Shane Nelson.
Shane Nelson comes out. They move around. Shane Nelson lands a shot, and Aaron Riley falls down. You know, guys fall down from shots all the time. It doesn't mean you're out. Like, it jarred him. But he honestly had the look in his face, the same one you have right now. Well, actually, no, you look a little bit stunned. But,
That's right.
He really didn't look like he was injured at all. He wasn't. And anybody who knows Aaron Riley, he's the toughest guy going. He's been in wars. He never gets rocked. He was not hurt in the slightest, completely defending himself intelligently,
Okay, and what
moving for a
happened?
better position, and the ref called the fight. And everybody was stunned. Even Shane was like, saying, I'm sorry, it's not my fault.
Right.
Like,
Which goes to my argument from 2 weeks ago, which is that you do need to let fights go long enough to allow the fighter to, defend themselves and that kind of thing.
Let's come back to this conversation. Let's come back to this
We'll
conversation
probably have
later
to come
in the
back to
show.
it again, because we have the other argument, which is the other fight that was let go way too long.
Yeah.
Way too long. And
Pete Sell
was standing on his feet, but he's knocked out on his feet. I mean,
Yves Levine could have got Pete Sell killed.
Oh, fuck. It was unbelievable, dude.
Pete Sell was hurt bad, and then for a second he popped up. Very similar to Josh Koscheck. Like, he was out, then up, and Yves Levine waved it off. Like, it's not like he kind of...
He waved it off, but he also... Right, he waved it off,
Yeah.
and he was holding back Matt Brown.
Yeah.
So Matt Brown's like, oh, okay, it's done.
Yeah,
so
and
he
then
starts to
Pete
turn
Sell's
away.
head pops up, and he looks back,
And he's like, oh,
and
okay,
he put it back
no,
on.
Pete Sell's okay. So he continues to fight. And how does that come about? Because it comes about from the early stoppage.
The crowd booed that first ref so bad.
Right.
It was some of the worst booing that you've ever heard in your life. And so Yves Levine, now first thing I got to say is Yves Levine's one of the best refs in the world. He's an incredible guy. He's from Quebec. He's refed 100 fights as a genius. So we got to cut Yves Levine some slack here. It happens.
Okay, let's come to back to this in a little bit. And the reason why is because we need to go to commercial break really fast. We'll come right back, and then we're going to have Kenny Florian on the line.
It's a
let's
privilege
talk,
to have Kenny Florian.
Yeah, I mean, we're wasting time unnecessarily by talking about other
crap
things,
when
and
we
we're
could
still
be
talking.
talking,
So
yeah.
we're going to go right to commercial break. When we come right back, we'll have Kenny Florian. Thank you so much. You're watching No Shit MMA on thatchannel.com. Welcome back to No Shit MMA, and just like that, a super fast commercial break, and we have Kenny Florian live on the line. So, Kenny, how you feeling, bud?
Not doing too bad.
That's cool.
I heard that you had dental surgery. Is that so?
No, not dental surgery. Got my tonsils out, so.
Oh, wow.
So you're 12?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And how'd that go?
Not too bad. It's a painful process, but it's necessary. It's actually going to help my training a lot, so that's good. And I'm not going to be as sick as often, so that's good.
That's good. Did you get to eat ice cream after it?
I did.
Oh, nice.
What's your favorite flavor?
Yeah. What's my favorite flavor?
Yeah.
I have a little bit of everything. I like the cake batter
Nice.
ice cream, probably. Yeah.
Hang on a second,
I'm
there's
fat kid inside.
There's a cake batter flavor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Very
I
good.
know there was one with chocolate chips and the other one, but the cake batter, I didn't know about that.
Is this really what we brought Kenny on to talk about,
Right,
Jonathan?
exactly. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Kenny, you've got some stuff coming up, and from what I'm figuring, you're probably going to be facing BJ Penn in the not too distant future.
Is there any contract on that yet or anything?
No, not yet, but that's what it looks like. We're going to get it on probably sometime in the summer. So looks like we were going to fight in June, but BJ wanted a little more time off. So I guess we're probably going to do it in either July or August. So
I don't want to cut down BJ Penn or anything, but time off didn't seem to be what that guy needed after the GSP fight, But so after you see a guy take a pretty good beating like he did, let's face it, does that make you feel good seeing a guy get beat, knowing it's doable, knowing that he's human, like really seeing him humanized like that, or does it sink into your head this guy's going to come back like an animal?
well, it's a little bit of both. I think I knew. I believe everyone's human. Everyone can be beaten. Everyone has weaknesses, no doubt about it. But at the same time, I also realized that it is at a different weight class. BJ Penn's always been at his best at 155 pounds. I think there's no denying that. And he's done very well at 155. He's beaten some of the top guys at 155, and that's what we're going to be fighting at. So it's going to be a different BJ Penn, and I'm sure he's going to be even hungrier and that much more motivated to go out and kind of preserve his legacy.